Hi, welcome to Schofield Farm. I'm Carice, and we live in Zone 9B in Northern California, where we garden year-round. We have 7 kids, we have bees, we have chickens, we have a golden doodle puppy, and we kind of have geese. They adopted us, though. They live in our front yard and in the pond across the street, and their names are Maverick and Goose. And all that to say, today I'm taking you on a quick November garden tour. As I said, we garden year round. We always have something growing in the garden. Is the fall winter garden as robust as the summer one? No, but it's less work too. And I'd love to share with you what it looks like in this season, because I know I love to look back over the seasons and just see how the garden ebbs and flows and changes, because it's always changing. It's a windy day, so you're gonna have to forgive the wind sound you'll probably hear and my hair going all over the place. I'm gonna start in a place I don't usually start in the garden. I'm going to start in the bed where I grew cherry tomatoes this summer. You can see the cherry tomatoes are pretty much dead. We had our first frost at the end of October, about 3 to 4 weeks earlier than usual, and haven't had a frost since then. So I'll show you the bottom of the cherry tomato plants are alive with some tomatoes. The tops are completely decimated. They're the only tomato bed I have not completely pulled out just because time. And there were a few cherry tomatoes I wanted to see if they ripen, and they actually are. Here's an example of a few cherry tomatoes that are ripe. Obviously a couple unripe ones too. And we are pulling the rest of these today because there is a frost warning, a freeze warning. So we say goodbye to the cherry tomatoes for real. I mean, they pretty much are already a goodbye, right? Just got to get the mess out of this garden bed, because the rest of this garden bed, I have leeks, I have onions that we planted all along the perimeter. I have lettuce that I took you along planting with me underneath the cherry tomatoes. Beautiful purple carpet alyssum that pretty much grows year round here. It is like a beautiful ground cover that is in the garden. We have lots and lots of lettuce. I believe that we actually have, I had the count earlier, maybe 150 heads of lettuce in our garden right now, which with our big family, we actually do eat a lot of winter salads. Aren't they beautiful? Look at that color. It's called a Mayan jaguar, and I just love the speckles. The other one is butter crunch lettuce, which is one of our family's favorite. Both are from seeds I saved from our garden this summer when they bolted. We grow leeks year round. They are like a perennial in this bed. They are in this bed whether I like it or not. I first planted leeks in this bed thinking that I would have to replant every season, and that was a total mistake. Surprise. Not a mistake, but I don't have to replant. They actually kind of self-seed, and they just keep coming back in this bed. So if you're in a zone like I am, like we're zone 9B, you might think carefully about where you plant leeks. They're wonderful. They take as long as an onion or garlic, about 6 to 9 months, more like 9 months to grow. But in our climate, they're perennial. They'll just keep coming back. So you want to plant them where you're okay with them being for the long term. Grabbing these green tomatoes before they freeze, possibly. We'll see. Other side of this bed is quite beautiful. That's another Mayan jaguar that's a little redder, maybe because it has more sun. These are chives, more leeks. There's more onions and lettuce, and this is actually on the front side in the path. This is California poppies. We have tons of volunteer California poppies, and I let them go because I like them. We have a few herbs left. Thai basil, which will probably freeze all the way. I should get a little last harvest off of that. And I think these are all Thai basil. Oh, except for this one. This one is a Tulsi basil, and I definitely want to cut some of this before I go inside today because it's one of my favorite for teas. There are a few calyx left on my Roselle hibiscus. It's a Jamaican Roselle hibiscus. My husband grew up with Rose de Jamaica tea. It was actually not a tea, it was a drink. In Guatemala, this is one of the roselles I want to pick off. This is definitely frost tender, so it's going to be gone as soon as a freeze hits. The next bed we're going to do is what was my spicy pepper bed. I still actually have the peppers in there. And I also have some eggplant, but I planted some different brassicas around them. I don't see any eggplant on here, and this is going to die in a real freeze. So I will probably just cut them out. This one as well. We did have a few more eggplant after our frost, but they look pretty done. But we have in here some purple cauliflower. I love this cauliflower. It actually looks kind of like a wedding bouquet when it's completely ripe and ready to pick. I love it. It's beautiful. They get so pretty. I have several of them in here. I also have some other types of cabbage in here and a few peppers I need to pick before frost. These are immature cayenne. There's still some Scotch bonnet, and I believe that might be Thai dragon over there, Thai dragon chili. I'm just gonna comb through here before the frost. We have garlic I planted all along the side, and you can see right here, one of the garlic is coming up. They are sprouting just fine. I do need to mulch this bed. I have not mulched any of my garlic or onions. This is an onion from last year that's coming up as a volunteer. What else do I have in here? I have chard. I have a lot of hot peppers left. We already took everything off the trellises. We used to have cantaloupe and butternut squash growing over that trellis. Not anymore. Oh, here's another pepper. I need to get this, a serrano. Yeah, need to do one final comb over of this bed. It's funny when you clean up a bed so heavily. I have a video of our huge last harvest before frost, and you think you get everything, and then you get a little reprieve from cold weather, and the things that made it keep producing, and I realize there's quite a bit left I actually need to get. I mean, not nearly like before, but we're gonna have some good handfuls of peppers and cherry tomatoes and stuff that we can still bring inside, even though we had Thanksgiving this week. So it's late in November. This is more like when we usually have our first frost come in our region. So picking peppers will be part of my garden time today. You can see some sort of pest, whether it is caterpillars or whether it is birds, is chomping at my cabbage, and hopefully it gets bigger before it gets too eaten. It usually does get bigger, but this is the reality of my garden right now, the in-between. Will it make it or will it not? There are more garlic coming up in here. That is so exciting. They're shooting up just great. That one is just barely breaking the soil right there. Over here, they're doing great. And this is doing pretty good. This is another, I believe this was a cabbage that I put in. So it will do good. Camouflage pepper. This is a mess of zinnias. I need to clean up still in this bed. They are done for. They're not all frozen, but they don't look good. Oh my goodness. That, you guys, that is a bolting, sprouting broccoli the week of Thanksgiving. Ridiculous. This bed is all transformed to brassicas. They're very, very pretty. And it's very, very windy. Those are some beautiful Chinese cabbage, red cabbage, a different cabbage, parsley on the end, so pretty. This, I believe, is actually a broccoli. It's a broccoli. It's very pretty. I'm pretty sure that is the broccoli solstice because it has like a purpley leaf, even though the broccoli is not purple. I think brassicas are just absolutely lovely. And that parsley needs to be eaten. It is gorgeous. y'all might remember my sunflower forest over here that has been long gone, cleaned up. Loofah used to be here, pumpkins used to be here. It's just a totally different garden in the summertime. In here, we had those beautiful purple beans before. Now we have chard. In each of these pots, we have chard. It's going to be delicious and beautiful. And across the way, we have the red giant mustard. And I seriously love these through the winter. I really do like the mustard. I actually think I'm gonna put it in my lentil soup that I'm making for tomorrow. Take a few leaves. The asparagus beds look very fall, turning yellow and drying out. They have those little berries on them. I should try to redirect them into the pots so that they multiply. And in the pots, I have a few random volunteers that were here last year. Can't get enough of the fall veggies just coming up on their own. And over here, we have my potatoes still going strong. Not quite ready to harvest, which is okay. As I said, they might get a little kiss by frost, like on top, but the potatoes below end up just okay. And I replanted all of my peas, and you will see they are coming up just fine. They're in this bed with the potatoes. I had transplanted them, like about 50 of them, but they died from the heat. Now that we are cooling off for real, I redirect sowed planted them, and they are coming up great. And I think they're gonna be happier with cooler temps. This messy real life area, wood chips I need to put back down to mulch the plants I just planted, lettuce, garlic and stuff. We have strawberries in the walkway. Probably should take them up, but I don't. We have calendula in the walkway. As I said, probably should take them up, but I don't. These are snapdragons that are holding strong. This is my sweet and mild pepper bed that we planted garlic all the way around the edges, and I do need to mulch it. We will have a few things in here like cilantro. Look at that cilantro. It's even acting like it might want to bolt, which is so silly. I think that is absolute silliness because it's not warm right now. I think it's kind of cool. You're gonna see me gathering different things to go in our lentil soup because, hey, why not multitask my garden tour? We have some beautiful chard here that's been here for a couple years. I'll probably take some of the leaves for my lentil soup as well. Just gather a handful of them. I like to add greens into all sorts of things because I just think it's good for you and adds depth of flavor. These peppers also aren't dead yet. They might have a few peppers. I'm going to check today because of the frost warning. More purple alyssum because I like color in my garden no matter what time of year it is. And it should be fine in the winter. Oh, right in here we have shallots coming up. I was gifted from a friend on Instagram named Amy. She actually came and visited me in person once. It was awesome. And she gave me these shallots and I grew them and forgot to harvest them and they came back. So I will definitely harvest them this year. And that will be a fun little treat in the garden. It's so strange to look at a garden that once was full of vining, trellis things, and then to see it like this, everything's, you know, more lower. But I know very soon all these peppers and eggplant will be gone in our next garden tour. So I love for myself just to document the transition in between time. And more peppers to pick hiding in there. I didn't even think there were any left in this bed. All right, so I'm gonna show you next the bed where we planted our hardneck garlic and we have lots and lots of kale. And this bed makes me really happy. I feel like it's transitioned the best of our beds, like the most complete. We don't still have summer stuff lingering in here. I do still need to mulch it, but as I said, I just will have to get to that maybe next week or week after. I'm gonna take the time. I think it's gonna be okay, even if we get freezing temps without being mulched. It's really not that crazy low, so I'm not in like a rush hurry to do it. This bed has garlic on the edges and it has such pretty stuff. This is all kale. We have dino kale, we have red Russian kale, we have a new one to me called cyber frill kale. Lots and lots of fun stuff. Still have our marigolds. They relate to the game this year. Still have snapdragons. We do have a few calendula just down there at the end, making a pretty winter bloom, fall winter bloom. Also on the end of this kale bed, I have beets that I transplanted, and a lot of them look pretty good. They look better than the beets that I transplanted in the summer. I think they've actually already outgrown them, believe it or not. So ironic, the summer ones were stunted forever. Anytime a plant or flower cascades over the side, that makes me so happy. I love it. It's just pretty. These are strawberry blonde calendula, and I really like them. They've been a favorite to me in this garden, and they're flowers that bloom year long for me. These are either leeks or garlic that we never harvested. This little bed was my son's. He put them in there, left them in there, and I'm curious actually what they are. I need to dig it around and see that, but they're going strong. Strawberry bed desperately needs to be weeded. Like, I need to take at least half, if not 2/3 of these plants out, mulch, and give it a chance to regenerate. We do have strawberries produced year-round though here. I'll show you a couple ripe ones. It's crazy because I haven't actually harvested any for a long time, but I need to, because look, bright, beautiful red strawberries at the end of November. So here's the other side of the kale bed, and across from it is this bed of lettuce that I planted. Onions all around the perimeter. There's a couple tomatoes holding on, but they will probably die this weekend. Lots and lots of onions. Most of them are red onions this year, grown from the seeds we saved, just like the lettuce was grown from seeds we saved. The chives have already been deeply harvested and cut back, but they have come back because the weather has been nice. These marigold are showing off. They took all summer to actually grow and bloom. It's the latest marigolds I've ever had, but they are super pretty in the fall. It looks like I purposely planted them just for the fall. We have celery left in the garden. I do need to harvest that. I should make a really yummy soup with it. I'm actually making a bunch of bone broth right now from a turkey carcass from Thanksgiving. So I might grab a couple stalks of that celery to throw in my bone broth, because celery and bone broth is like the best fragrance and flavor. Okay, so onions, lettuce, celery, more alyssum, but this one is not purple, this one is the white alyssum. I think it's just called sweet alyssum, and it's been in this bed I think for 4 or 5 years. Literally, it's one of the first things we planted. And we've owned the house for 4.5 years, gardened 5 summers, so it must be 5 summers, 4 years. And it's hung in there strong. This bed is simply lovely as a fall garden bed. Super beautiful. It's already mulched, already fully transitioned. So another one I really enjoy because it's not in the awkward stage. This is the last bed I'm going to share with you. It's definitely in the awkward stage, definitely needs to be mulched. It is tons and tons of onions, a couple rows all the way around. We still have sage, some random beans. Yeah, I need to mulch this one badly, but this is the stage it's in. And the onions are pretty. They're doing really well. They're definitely happy. That sage is always out of control. So that's my November garden tour, kind of short and sweet. It kind of makes me a little sad that there aren't as many colors and flowers, but at the same time, I really do like the greens, purples, kind of bluish hue of the fall winter garden. I think it's very pretty in its own way. So I do enjoy this garden. I just do miss like the tons of sunflowers and zinnias and all the tomatoes and life, but it's okay. Transition is good and change is good, and I'm going to enjoy this garden for what it is and look forward to how we're going to plant the spring summer garden next year. I'm already thinking about new peppers to try. If you have a pepper that you love that you think I should try next year, put it in the comments below, because I'm gathering a list of peppers to look into. I've grown 30 varieties. I'm totally open to more. I love to try new ones each year and see what some of your favorites are and how they do in our climate. It's one of my funnest things of gardening, is trying all different crazy kinds of peppers that you can't get in the grocery store. Thanks for joining me, and thank you for those of you who've seen how my garden has changed over the entire year. My very first garden tour was in January of this year, so here it is November, end of November. There has been so much change and growth, and I love looking back myself, but I love letting you look back. You look at garden tours and see how it looks to grow food year round and how things ebb and flow and change, and what that actually looks like in real life versus in theory. It's messy, it's work, but it's really cool. It's really great to come out here, grab a few ingredients for our lentil soup, and know that so much of it is stuff we've grown ourselves. And we'll talk to you soon. I love to share things with you. Since we do grow food year round, you will get garden updates and info all through the winter. Maybe not quite the same as summer ones, but I'll be sharing with you all through the winter. I'll talk to you soon. You have a beautiful day, and hopefully you've had a really great time this season enjoying those you love.